Entry 5. The first move has been played. At first I wasn't sure who I should approach first, tackle the hardest prey or rope in an easy ally. With security beefed up, I worried I'd not get any chance at all. But like fate descending from the heavens, there came a demon. I'd only heard of 682 in snippets and stories. What I'd gleaned from his profile, I wasn't too interested. Giant earth-destroying crocodile monster sounded more like something out of a post-World War II Japanese flick than the stuff of nightmares. I became invested the moment I heard he was coming here. The O5 Council were briefing site directors on the current month's schedule, including new S.C.P possibilities, recruitment and training programs, and subject transfers. 682 was one of those mentioned, and he just so happened to be coming to Site 19 for a visit. Exposure to another S.C.P had resulted in the monster breaking out of its cell, and its original site was now ill-equipped to both house 682 and repair the original chamber. Lambert wasn't too pleased, as it would mean more resources spent, which meant less money he could pocket. He raised the issue surreptitiously, suggesting we make a separate lay-by site for just this sort of issue. The council took it under advisement, which in my books is code for we'll get to it in a couple years. In the meantime, preparations would have to get underway to welcome our infamous guest. And since this is the situation she was hired to tackle, Lambert assigned Engineer Rowe to make a cell ready. She jumped at the chance. You could see the ideas flashing in her head. What she wanted to do was make the chamber here completely escape-proof for 682 by improvising an adaptable security system that would prevent him from being able to evolve new defenses from our efforts to contain. This meant lots of quick research and manpower to renovate the area. But, yet again, Lambert limited her vision, ordering her to adapt the already existing plans for 682's last containment area to suit our facility's capacity. Rose straight up told Lambert to eat crap, but it's not like she had much of a choice. He implied that if she didn't follow instructions, he'd use her as bait to lure 682 into his new chamber. A hollow threat now, but you don't dare push a petulant man like Lambert, or his threats become promises. I knew Rowe understood 682's procedures like the back of her hand, but she always focuses her efforts on the subjects prior to tackling them. She'd be studying up in the S.C.P records room, so I figured I might help her. I locked myself inside one of the labs, making sure my private escort saw me enter. Hillard really needs to teach her soldiers that hallways and corridors aren't the only ways to get around a facility. The electrical conduits were surprisingly roomy, and it wasn't long before I'd lost my tail. She was uninterested in me after introducing myself. She really does only have her mind set on the job. I was told to say my piece and leave, so whatever I said, I had to make it count. I didn't mince words. I was upfront about how I felt about Lambert, stating that not only would I not urinate on the man to save his life, but that I'd probably be the one to set him on fire. I talked about my intentions, what semblance of a plan I had in mind, how she fit into it, and rounded up with a short list of benefits, one on her end, should she opt in. Rowe has an excellent poker face. For a moment I thought she was considering calling security and repeat everything I'd said. As it turns out, an absolutely straightforward, honest approach was what she appreciated. She hardly spent time considering. He doesn't respect their power, she told me. He doesn't understand that they control us, no matter the thickness of their bars, the power of our weapons, or the belief that we are intellectually superior. Someone that blind deserves death. I'm pretty sure she's committed. I left the room confident that, finally, I was not alone in this fight. But as I turned the corner, I came face to face with my next hurdle. I hadn't expected to encounter Chen this early in the game, but here he was, the bootlicker, on patrol, alone. Probably so he could take all the credit for himself in case he captured me without an escort. He wasted no time in cuffing me, and decided not to call in my escape to Hillard. He wanted to see the look on her face dragging me into her office as she realized her men had lost me. But before we got that far, I knew I wouldn't get a better chance to plead my case with Chen than now. I struck up the topic of promotions, whether he thought it likely my capture would warrant one. Chen thought it doubtful, but couldn't blame him for trying. I posed the hypothetical scenario of what he would do if it was ever discovered Lambert was involved in a major cover-up, and evidence of said cover-up were to potentially fall into the hands of the O5 Council. He responded that he would plug the leak, score against me, but I persisted. What's to stop Hillard from taking all the credit? He didn't respond. And, hypothetically of course, if the evidence did fall into the Council's hands, what would it mean to you if Hillard's name was implicated in the crime? He responded with, "I'm not sure," but slowed his walking pace. I had his ear. "Well, hypothetically," I continued, "if she is part of this whole cover-up, she stands to take the same fall as Lambert. That would mean the head of security position here at Site 19 would be open to the next highest-ranking officer, which would be you." We stopped. He faced me for the first time, properly regarding me as a person than a prisoner. "And what if the relieving officer was also involved in this cover-up?" "Hypothetically," he said. "Records get lost all the time," I responded. "Some people might slip through the nets." He and I kept our eyes fixed on each other, waiting to see who would break, but neither of us did. He took off my restraints, then walked away as though he had never seen me. I can't say for sure if this is a confirmation he's on board, but he certainly is interested, if nothing else. I didn't bother asking. I had to get back to the conduits and crawl back to my locked laboratory to maintain my cover. None the wiser, my personal guard took me back to my office and... well, we'll see where we go from here. I think I'm starting to remember why I loved field work. Administrative Oversight Jacobs, signing off. Still got it.